Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pranay Bhalla show. And in the Indian society, who does not like judging? The only fact is that some people do it better than other people. And today I have for you the esteemed adjudicators of the Mumbai Speech and Debate League, organized by the Indian Debating League at IIT Bombay, co-partnered with Burlington English. And I must tell you, these adjudicators have to tell you how to debate and argue in the best ways possible. There are do's and don'ts, so stay tuned and let's get right into it. Welcome back to the Pranay Bhalla show, ladies and gentlemen. And today, with me, we have a very esteemed adjudicator who knows how comparative judging takes place. And his name is Mohar Nagra. Over here, he's from IIT Bombay, and he's judged across platforms, across formats in this debate. So, I have a few questions for you. What are your biggest takeaways? What are the biggest do's and don'ts you can share with the debaters of the world if you had to in 60 seconds?
It's a tall task in 60 seconds, but based on the debates I judged today, I would say that the first do is that debates are a comparative game. You don't win a debate in a vacuum, you win a debate against the other team. So always remember, you need to deal with what the other team is saying first before going ahead and making your own points in a vacuum. What you prepared and what you come from before, don't marry that case, don't let it get through your head. And second thing I would say, what teams were doing so well this round is it's really nice to see that kids so young are able to come up with all this analysis and not just the prepared stuff. They're also able to think on the fly and able to respond and stuff like that. And that's really, really impressive to see that there's a good pool of talented debaters for India to come in the future. And that's very positive for me.
Absolutely lovely. And that's his do and don't for this debate. I must say, it's been a pleasure to interview you, even if it was short. And I'll see you around. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the Pranay Bhalla show, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we have with us a very, very accomplished adjudicator. A judge so good that he's judged across categories, across formats, ladies and gentlemen. And so, I have with me Gautam. Tell me a bit about yourself.
Hi. So I am the head of the debating society here at IIT Bombay, and I judged all the rounds of the turncoat and the dramatic adaptation across all the categories. So yeah, that's what.
Okay, and with your experience and what you experienced today as well, what would you say are the biggest do's and don'ts for debaters to do in a debate for the world at large?
Right. So I think firstly I'll start with dramatic adaptation. I think it's fairly simple. My feedback will be fairly simple. Don'ts is like, if you're actually impersonating a character, try to think the way the character does. Okay, you are sort of think of yourself to be a character in a movie and take the role of the character, think the way he does, and talk about the topic in that aspect. I think that's fundamentally important given the semi-finals that I judged today. I think that was missing in a lot of participants in general. But I feel on the other hand, they had done a lot of hard work in putting up the makeup and dressing up well for that and speaking the voice that they would have imagined the character to speak in. I think that sort of impersonation is very, very good. But I think matter-wise, you have to talk a little more relevant to the topic and talk from the point of view of the character. So I think that's particularly important. Talking about Turncoat, I think Turncoat was very, very awesome. I absolutely loved all the performances that were there. Simple do's and don'ts, I think what you did very well, what participants did very well was did the gestures very well, voice modulation. So they presented themselves very well. It was a very, very engaging sort of performance for me for every entry. But I feel a don't is maybe working a little more on matter is a very, very good idea, I think. So you have to be very, very clear about your stance. When you're speaking you have to be very, very clear about the arguments and the analysis for that. Because if you're talking about a topic, you cannot really deviate and talk about things that are absolutely off-clash, not related to the topic altogether. So since the topic was related primarily to education, you have to talk a lot about the effects of these policies coming into play, given that the motions were along those lines. So I think that's very, very important. Be relevant to the topic and read the topic very, very carefully. And speaking with equal weightage for for and against is also very important, because I felt there was a lot of bias in a few participants. They're talking a lot about the for and less about the against. So I think that's a few do's and don'ts regarding these rounds. But it was a really, really enjoyable experience. I mean, I judged 40 participants today, but I don't think I was very, very tired at the end of it, simply because this is something we've never really done before, and we really enjoyed this collaboration altogether. And I think that's about it.
Absolutely lovely. What can I add to the words of the head of the IIT Debate Club? With that, thank you so much. Yes, it's a pleasure. If you like that video, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. At the same point of time, please do check out the Indian Debating League and Burlington English on their respective Instagram handles. Thank you.